Perception and attributions. Other critical aspects of understanding behavior are perception and attributions, which are a special kind of perception. Perception and perceptual distortions. Perception is the cognitive process that people use to make sense out of the environment by selecting, organizing, and interpreting information from the environment. Because of individual differences in personality, values, interests, and so forth, people often see the same thing in different ways. A class that is boring to one student might be fascinating to another. One student might perceive an assignment to be challenging and stimulating, whereas another might find it a silly waste of time. We can think of perception as a step-by-step process, as shown in Exhibit 14.3. First, we observe information, sensory data, from the environment through our senses: taste, smell, hearing, sight, and touch. Next, our mind screens the data and will select only the items that we will process further. Third, we organize the selected data into meaningful patterns for interpretation and response. Most differences in perception among people at work are related to how they select and organize sensory data. You can experience differences in perceptual organization by looking at the visuals in Exhibit 14.4. What do you see in Part A of Exhibit 14.4? Most people see this image as a dog, but others see only a series of unrelated ink blots. Some people will see the figure in Part B as a beautiful young woman, while others will see an old one. Now look at Part C. How many blocks do you see? 6 or 7? Some people have to turn the figure upside down before they can see 7 blocks. These visuals illustrate how complex perception is. Of particular concern in the work environment are perceptual distortions, errors in perceptual judgment that arise from inaccuracies in any part of the perception process. One common perceptual error is stereotyping, the tendency to assign an individual to a group or broad category, for example, female, black, elderly, or male, white, disabled, and then to attribute widely held generalizations about the group to the individual. Recall our discussion from Chapter 13 of the inaccurate stereotype that talkative female managers are incompetent. As another example, someone meets a new colleague, sees that he is in a wheelchair, assigns him to the category physically disabled, and attributes to this colleague generalizations that she believes about people with disabilities, which may include a belief that he is less able than other coworkers. However, the person's inability to walk should not be seen as indicative of lesser abilities in other areas. Stereotyping prevents people from truly knowing those whom they classify in this way. In addition, negative stereotypes prevent talented people from advancing in an organization and fully contributing their talents to the organization's success. The halo effect occurs when the perceiver develops an overall impression of a person or situation based on one characteristic, either favorable or unfavorable. In other words, a halo blinds the perceiver to other characteristics that should be used in generating a more complete assessment. The halo effect can play a significant role in performance appraisal, as we discussed in Chapter 12. For example, a person with an outstanding attendance record may be assessed as responsible, industrious, and highly productive. Another person with less than average attendance may be assessed as a poor performer. Either assessment may be true, but it is the manager's job to be sure that the assessment is based on complete information about all job-related characteristics, not just the employee's preference for good attendance. How accurate is your perception? Answering the questions in Exhibit 14.5 will give you an idea of whether you allow perceptual distortions to cloud your judgment.